former Terp, Domonique Foxworth, on his show had talked about maybe this could be a situation where Lamar Jackson's future in Baltimore is up in the air.
Lamar has a no trade and a no franchise tag clause and a plus $80 million cap hit. That means
extend or
that means normally you don't get to this point. Of course, most of the time, great quarterbacks don't become free agents, but normally they get to the end of their contract and the team has some leverage in a franchise tag or some way to be able to start negotiations, or like Mahomes and Allen, they just renegotiate way ahead of time. The idea that Lamar had all that leverage, like I don't think it's a coincidence that Lamar had all that leverage or has all that leverage headed into this season, and then a lot of changes were made. So like that's the thing that I have my eye on, that Lamar is doing a very NBA, it feels like he's put himself in a very NBA style situation where it's like, I can do what I want at the end of the season. So let's get it right. So that to me is huge. So like at the end of the season, he can decide what he wants to do. If he wants to sign the extension, or if they offer him an extension he doesn't like, you're like, all right, well, I'll play for $80 million, or you trade me to exactly who I want to go play for. It's like, that's huge.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting on a lot of levels because it is scary. I think Foxworth did a good job of laying it out because it's all true. It's incredibly rare. I don't know of any other situation where somebody negotiated no trade, no franchise tag, and for all the speculation about him having no agent and this and that, and his mom being involved, he has a no franchise clause. That's incredible because he has all the leverage, all of it. Holds all the cards and can do exactly what he wants. So it is a pretty scary situation regarding his future here. But I'm still confident he's going to want to play here because his contracts have always seemed to have gone this way, where it's been tense until the very end when it's not and it's done. And they've been very quiet about it. Both Lamar and EDC never really talk about it. They do it very quietly, and it gets done. And whenever the negotiations take place, they seem to, they come to an agreement. And I think, and because of that, though, I'm pretty optimistic. He's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder this year, and I think a big season for that reason. I think that he's always motivated, but I think more than ever he's going to want to just have it's not so much a prove it deal. You know who he is. He's a multiple-time MVP, should have been 3, but he's going to have a big year. Whether he's here or not, because he's going to be, okay, this is what I want my extension, or I'm going to have a huge year and I'm going to go pick a team. I don't know, where he'd go.
410-583-1057. This topic here, does Lamar Jackson's future in Baltimore hinge on this season's outcome? We're taking your calls next segment on this. It's the Big Bad Morning Show on The Fan. I don't see how they don't get something done with him as long as it's regular Lamar. And back-to-back bad years. Last year, I think injuries played a big role, and that had an impact. We'll see. This year, I'm expecting him to be back to what we've seen before. Lamar Jackson is a special thrower of the football. He's a special runner of the football. Lamar Jackson can do it all. He's a top 3 quarterback in this league. We talk about it every single chance we get because that's just what it is. And when he is healthy, when he is up, feeling good, last year it was evident that he was playing through something. But when he is healthy, feeling good, there's never an issue. They're always right in the spot they need to be in. But it is concerning that nothing has gotten done now. And now I don't blame that on the front office. I don't blame that on Lamar. Negotiations are tricky with a lot of guys, and I get it. A lot of different people, a lot of different quarterbacks go about things certain ways, and we're not in these rooms for these negotiations. Right. Anybody who's sitting here thinking the Ravens aren't trying to get one done is foolish. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to, can they touch the number that Lamar wants? And there's going to be the guarantees. There's going to be the franchise tag. And they have to they're going to have to meet Lamar where he wants. Lamar has given them that much. I know he hasn't gotten the Super Bowl yet. That's the common criticism of him, and it's fair. They've got to win a Super Bowl with Lamar, but I'm confident that he will be able to do that. And to be honest with you, some of his struggles, I do point to the offensive line with how he's had to deal with things and having to run a little bit more. That's something this year. And I know we talked about it yesterday on this show, not wanting him to run as much. Sometimes I think he's forced to run because he's pushed out of the pocket and has to go make a play with his legs, which I think he's going to be a similar case this year. I think they've improved it enough. But the contract itself, if Lamar has a good year, yes, he might say, I want more money than whatever he wants right now. I think they're going to meet it. As long as he is healthy, Lamar will probably wait for a few guys to get their money, and then he's going to go to the top. And then don't worry, when Arch Manning's time comes, when he's in the NFL, he'll go to the top. And then the next quarterback will. And it just stacks up.
There it goes.
But it's how it always goes. I do expect them to get it done with Lamar next offseason.
I do too. I expect them to get it done. It's always been like this. There's two things here. Think about the way things work out sometimes when people bet on themselves. Joe Flacco did it.
Yeah.
He didn't have a contract going to the year, and he ends up being the Super Bowl MVP. So it's like, it happens when these guys say, I know what I can do. And Lamar, obviously, we all know what he can do. So I'm really confident about that. Going into the season healthy, it's a big thing. The only problem I have, it's not a problem, but of all the players that have departed, I think the one I miss the most is Pat Ricard. Because you mentioned the offensive line. And when Ricard was here, he wasn't just a fullback. He was a sixth offensive lineman who could run. I mean, he was such a devastating, blocker that I think that's going to be missed. I don't know who's going to take that role or if it's going to be necessary in this offense. But he made a big difference because you had him leading either Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson. And he's a terrifying human being. I mean, you've seen him up close. He's a terrifying human. He's a giant man with a bad attitude, and he loves putting people on their ass. And I think that you can't replace that easily. So I hope he's not, as glaring an absence as I'm fearing.
Yeah, it sucks that we're not going to get those videos. Some of these Henry runs in recent years, you just see him, the hole's there, and then Ricard completely busted open.
Explodes it. Yeah. It's just like an explosion. I'll tell you, I was at a joint practice a couple of years ago with the Jaguars. They were doing one-on-ones. He put Miles Jack on his ass twice. Not once, twice. You put an NFL linebacker off his feet. That's a big deal.
And we've asked them to get meaner. And he was a guy who was already here when we were saying they weren't mean enough. But he was a dude who you knew was angry and was mean. And one of those parts, I think between Cuevas and Doyle, or between Cuevas and Smythe, they're going to try to get that. But Doyle, I don't know that wants to go with the traditional fullback. Again, to your point, Ricard's a little bit more than the traditional fullback. I think you can stick him out there on the defensive line too. Coming out of Maine, he was, right? Yeah.